What would you do if your best friend became rich and famous based off a complete lie? I have a photo on my phone from last May. It's of my best friend and me, grinning like idiots, holding our diplomas in our caps and gowns. But if you were to ask the internet, that photo doesn't exist, because according to his thousands of followers, and now, according to him, he's a famous Ivy League dropout. And that picture is my proof that he's not. Okay, I need to just word vomit this whole thing out, because if I keep it inside my head any longer, I think I might actually combust. My brain has been a tilt-a-whirl for the last month, and I'm at the point where I'm genuinely questioning my own reality. It's that feeling, you know? When you see something with your own two eyes, you know it in your bones to be true. But the world and someone you love starts telling you you're crazy for believing what you saw. It all comes down to my friend, and God, that word tastes like ash in my mouth now. Leo. Leo and I were not just friends. That's not the right word. We were a unit. From day one of freshman year at our university, yeah, one of those fancy Ivy League schools, we were inseparable. I remember the night we really became brothers. It was sophomore year. We were pulling an all-nighter on this sadistic algorithms assignment, and I was just falling apart. My code was a disaster. My confidence was shot, and I was convinced I was going to fail out. Leo just stopped everything, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "We're not finishing this until we both understand it." He spent the next 3 hours patiently walking me through every single line of logic until it clicked. That was him. That was us. He was family. So when he and our other buddy Sam came up with their startup idea, I was a true believer. The idea was electric, a flash of genuine brilliance. And I was in the trenches with them, in spirit at least. I was the guy who made 2 a.m. food runs, who listened to them rant about buggy code. I was their biggest fan. But here's the absolute, non-negotiable, central truth of this entire saga. They did not do it alone. Our university was their co-founder. They got into this hyper-competitive, incredibly well-funded on-campus startup incubator. The school didn't just roll out the red carpet, they basically paved it with gold. The incubator wasn't just a room, it was a launch pad. They got a state-of-the-art office, computing server credits that would have cost a fortune, and access to professors who were the avengers of the computer science world. I remember one night their mentor, a legend named Professor Albright, spent 2 hours with them and solved a core problem that had them stuck for months. Leo looked at me, his eyes wide, and said, "That man just saved our company." The university wasn't just a safety net. It was their entire life support system. The project grew into a monster. By junior year, it needed everything. So we all talked it through. They made a calm, logical, strategic decision to take 1 semester off, a single leave of absence. It wasn't a rebellion. It wasn't them giving the middle finger to the system. It was a business move. The phrase dropping out was never, not once, uttered by anyone. It wasn't even in our vocabulary. And sure enough, that spring, he was back, sitting right next to me in our advanced operating systems class, complaining about the homework like the rest of us. We finished our degrees. Together. Which brings us to graduation day. I can still feel the humid May air under that polyester gown. The moment that's now seared into my brain is watching Leo walk across that stage. My brother. I was screaming my head off for him when they called his name. Leonardo Chen, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, magna cum laude. With high honors. We have a picture, the 3 of us, arms slung around each other, clutching our diplomas like they were winning lottery tickets. In that moment, we were invincible. It was real. A few months later, the venture capital money hit. A tidal wave of it. And just like that, the Leo I knew began to dissolve. He was replaced by a new character. Leo Chen, the Ivy League dropout. The first time I saw it, on LinkedIn, I actually laughed. I texted him, "Dude, last I checked, we have matching diplomas." He just replied with a winky face emoji. But it wasn't a joke. It became his entire gospel. His personal brand was meticulously crafted around this heroic myth of him being a rebellious visionary who bravely abandoned the stuffy confines of academia. He gave interviews about how the classroom couldn't contain his ambition. He wrote these long, sanctimonious blog posts about how degrees were just pieces of paper. It made me physically ill. It was a lie wrapped in a layer of nauseating hypocrisy. And the worst part was watching people buy it. An entire cult of personality grew around him. Young, impressionable kids would flood his comments. "I'm a freshman in college and I want to drop out to start my company. You're my biggest inspiration." Every comment felt like a betrayal of the truth, of our shared history, of Professor Albright, of the school that had given him everything. He got this weird, glassy, media-trained look in his eyes and said, "Look, it's not a lie, it's an archetype. People connect with the story of the rebel. The dropout is a powerful brand." He said, "It's not about the technicality of graduation, it's about the mindset." The technicality of graduation. As if it were a footnote. The absolute final straw was that slickly produced video he posted. He looked into the camera and said, "If you have a dream, don't let 4 years of theory and debt stand in your way." I scrolled down, and right there at the top was a comment from a high school senior. "I just withdrew my college applications. It's scary, but I'm going to follow my dream like you did." And my world went red. This wasn't a brand anymore. This was a lie with consequences. I felt like I had no choice. My fingers were trembling, my heart was pounding. I was warring with myself. This is Leo, my brother. Am I really about to do this? But then I saw that kid's comment again. I hit post. "Leo, I'm incredibly proud of your success, but this narrative is a lie. You didn't drop out. You graduated with honors. I know because I celebrated with you on graduation day. Your company was literally born from the amazing resources, funding, and mentorship that very same university gave us. To build your brand by encouraging kids to abandon education when you yourself are a product of its best-case scenario is dangerously irresponsible." The internet exploded. An immediate, vicious digital civil war. My phone became a vibrating brick of notifications. Half were from his legion of fans, calling me a jealous, pathetic, clout-chasing loser. The other half were from old classmates, messaging me, "Thank you for saying it. I was there, he's lying. You did the right thing." Leo deleted my comment, but it was too late. He called me. His voice was cold, surgical. He accused me of trying to sabotage him, of being a traitor. And then he twisted the knife. "It's so obvious what this is," he said, his voice dripping with condescending pity. "You're still stuck where we were 4 years ago and I've moved on. You're just jealous. You can't handle my success, so you try to tear me down over a word. It's just sad." And that was it. He hung up. We haven't spoken since. I'm left here, with this giant hole where a friendship used to be, getting hate mail from strangers, and replaying that phone call over and over. Did I destroy a friendship over a word? Am I just the bitter, jealous person he says I am? Or was it my responsibility to call out a lie that felt so fundamentally dangerously wrong?